Good morning, everybody. I'm Eureka John, and you're at Eureka Street Crypto, broadcasting live from Leander, Texas. It is Monday morning, 5:41 in the morning, March 14th, 2022. And yeah, this is my morning crypto video blog, aka morning brain dump, or whatever you want to call it. This is my show documenting my journey through the crypto space as we move forward in the advancement of technology. And I used to do it every single day. I don't do it every single day anymore because I'm doing other stuff, other jobs that have happened because of the fact that I have learned how to use my audio and visual skills to be able to earn some money to keep doing this show. And but yeah. Can't do it every single morning now, but this has been fun. It's not financial advice. I wouldn't take my financial advice, even if I were to say it's financial advice. And yeah, it is what it is. All right, so let's take a look over here at the old CoinGecko and see what's up with that, man. All right, so where are we at? The market's been kind of squirrely the past couple weeks. I'm not a price tech guy, technical analysis guy. I don't do that. I don't really analyze charts. No cup and handle or head and shoulders for me. Nor wedgies, ascending or descending wedgies. Nope, I don't do that. I'm just this dude who talks about crypto concepts and projects, and I try to vocalize them outside of myself so I can understand them. And you're watching me in the process of doing that, so I might say some things wrong or whatever. So I'm apologizing in advance, So all right. So before you start, pounding the keyboard with the comments and telling me how wrong I am about this and that. Okay, I don't know about any of this stuff. Figuring it out, and you're watching me. All right. So okay. So Bitcoin's at $39,054.18. Ethereum $2,590.52. By the way, Ethereum gas fees have been super cheap lately, and yeah, it's because the market is kind of crappy right now. But I bought an NFT yesterday, and the transaction fee for that was like $12, which pretty high in a lot of other people's standards, but for Ethereum standards, that's pretty low, man. So yeah, and I just signed a multi-sig, and I wasn't the last signer on multi-sig. If you're the last signer, you have to carry the cost, but I didn't. But either way, right now is a good time to do stuff like that. If you're doing multi-sig transactions, if you're buying NFTs, if you're staking or unstaking, I would say probably right now is a good time for you to get on that. If you've been thinking about I need to unstake for a while, this is probably a good time to do that. Because the way Ethereum transaction fees work is it's on an auction system, all right? So these fees weren't built into Ethereum to try for some company, Ethereum, Incorporated or whatever, to try to capitalize off these fees. Now, the fees happen because the fee structure is there in place to prevent DDoS attacks or DOS attacks, which is denial of service attacks. And that's what happens whenever you have malicious actors go into some place like a website, for instance, and they have the forms on the website, and they just put in a bunch of different entries into that, and they automate it with bots to try to flood the server with all these requests to the point that it crashes the server. You're like, well, who would do that? Why would they do that? People do that, okay? And yeah, they want to crash the system, and that's why the gas is there in the first place, to prevent automated bots from doing this type of crap. Because if you have to be paying something financial out of it, there's a lot less incentive to try to do stuff like that because it would be too expensive to do some kind of attack like that. But there's also an auction system, so you have the gas fee, but if you want, the more people that are using the network, the more requests they are, the more they get backed up, and then the gas has a price. So you can pay more for that gas fee if you would like your transaction to go to the front of the line, so this sets a market amount for the gas price. And and that's where gas prices come from. And so I'll talk about some other stuff like that here in a second. But oh yeah. So I had yesterday evening, my neighbor Ben, a couple doors down from me, and I discovered that he's into NFTs. He went to NFT NYC last year, and he was just, that's how we got to talking. He's like, yeah, I'm headed to New York, and I'm gonna go to this conference called NFT NYC. I was like, holy crap, dude! So you're going to NFT NYC? This must mean that you're really into crypto and NFTs. Then we just like locked eyes, like yes. And then we just started talking shop, and it's like everybody else around. It was at his kid's birthday party. Everybody else was around, and suddenly everybody else left the room, and it was me and him talking NFTs and crypto, and that hasn't really happened on like an in-person basis like that before. But we were talking about yesterday about NFTs because that's the angle that he's approached crypto and gotten into crypto from. I approached crypto from more coming from a DeFi angle. A lot of times when people are coming in through DeFi, they have to learn the fundamentals of consensus mechanisms and blockchain and public and private keys and all that type of stuff. Well, people now coming in through gaming and play to earn are coming into crypto from a whole other angle. All right, so me, DeFi, I'm learning about decentralization, anti-censorship, and all this stuff. And it's, it's very libertarian ideal based. And I'm kind of a libertarian type of guy. So I was just like, all right. And that's what got me to fall in love with crypto and the whole idea of decentralized finance, because there's no censorship, and there's nobody to tell me that I need to have at least $250,000 of assets in my bank account in order to be able to be accredited to invest in something. I can take responsibility for my own private keys. I can run a node and help participate in the decentralization of the network and help fight censorship. But Ben, my neighbor, he approaching it from a gaming and a DeFi and an NFT approach, in which he's going in and he's he was trading collectibles, Pokemon cards and basketball cards and things like that. And he was flipping GPUs and buying and selling and all that stuff and making money that way. And then once he learned about NFTs, it was just a natural progression of events. Now, all this, and that's kind of how he came into it, and he didn't really care about decentralization or not. Like, he's in it to flip the product and stuff like that, being a buyer and seller type of person that he is, which is fine. That's the way a lot of other people get into crypto. And then he got into play to earn gaming, which is, he's always been a gamer as well. And he's been able to use the idea of, because how much people spend in money in games. You're playing that stupid game on your phone and you're almost at this certain level, where you'll be unlocked for a bunch of new stuff and really open the game wide open for you. But you gotta like get to this certain level, and you have the little, continue playing for $5.99, and they always pop that up right before you're about to get to this next level. And sometimes you just like cave. I've done it. And you're just like, man, you freaking hit buy gold, and you buy the gold, in order to unlock and get yourself to that next level. And then you see the bill later and you're just like, crap, man, because you've done that several times. But what does that really get you? In a centralized game, it gets you nothing. Once you're done with the game, you can't transfer those assets anywhere. You can't liquidate all the cool guns and gold and skins and all that stuff you bought. But if you're working on a play-to-earn game system, you can. And once you're done with one game, you can liquidate your assets on one game and move over to another game, and then rebuy those assets with the assets you sold on another game. Or you can take, like, for instance, your character skin or a gun or some kind of helmet and sell it on the open NFT marketplace, because those are all NFTs. So that's the approach he's taking. And a lot of those markets are centralized. However, one of the things that he brought up was he's playing this game called Ether Orcs, and he says, well, this is the first on-chain Ethereum NFT play to earn game. And what did he mean by on chain? Isn't all this stuff supposed to be on chain on Ethereum? And you're just like, huh? Actually, no. A lot of NFTs that you'll see, including CryptoPunks and Bored Apes, I believe, the actual JPEG information is not on chain. So what is actually on the blockchain then? So let's take a look at Bored Ape Yacht Club. Now these NFTs are super expensive, right? And all the celebrities are buying these and CryptoPunks, and there's kind of like this rich person rivalry between who holds the CryptoPunks and who holds the Bored Apes. Actually, let's go to the OpenSea collection, and it's just it seems so ridiculous that people are spending several $100,000 and millions of dollars for these JPEGs, but it's there, and it's like a money laundering haven. I mean, that's pretty much what wine clubs are, wine investing clubs, and what a lot of these art auctions, Christie's auctions or whatever, people paying these ridiculous amounts of money for these total like BS paintings that like a 2-year-old could do. It's because there's a lot of money laundering going on, guys. Who are we kidding? So let's see here. Okay, hold on, I'm waiting for this page to open, but so I just wanted you to see it so you can kind of visualize it. And for those of you who are listening on Spotify, sorry, you'll get better audio quality. But I'm just bringing up an OpenSea page that's showing all the Bored Apes. And, right now these bids are going for 6 Ethereum. Here's one for 77 Ethereum for Bored Ape. And each Ethereum right now is $2,500. So that's a lot of money. Here's one for 88 Ethereum. But the actual image information creates a lot of code if you were to try to put that on if you were trying to put that on a blockchain, that would get expensive, because the more code you have in your smart contract, the more room it takes up on the blockchain. And what you're paying for, whenever you're paying to put paying in gas to put on the blockchain, you're paying for your allocated spot for all your info, all your code, and all the code that's making what you want to have happen. You're buying space, real estate on that blockchain. All right. And then whenever you have a smart contract that's not well written, it creates a lot of blockchain bloat, is what that's called. And smart contract bloat also. So it's get bloated with code, and therefore it's really expensive. So a good programmer and a good coder knows how to create a real skinny smart contract, one that uses the bare minimum of code but gets the job done well and securely. And that makes for a faster and cheaper transaction. But because of these JPEGs take a lot of code in order to make, because each pixel of a JPEG is a hexadecimal number, and a hexadecimal number, per pixel added up to millions of pixels. I mean, that's a lot of code. And whenever you have to store that up on a blockchain, yeah, that can get really expensive. And so it takes a lot of gas. So what these NFT projects do to avoid that is they only put the hash algorithm, which is that long number, instead of the image information. So they put the hash algorithm up there. So whenever you're doing a transaction, you get a hash number that reflects what the unique transaction. Okay, so it's the receipt. So you get the receipt. So when these JPEGs are being put up on blockchains, the JPEG information stays on a server. All right, and only the hash associated with that, the receipt of it, gets put up on the blockchain. So that's really the only thing permanent with a lot of these NFTs. And that's why Ben, my neighbor, was bringing up the whole idea of the Ether Orcs being the first on-chain NFT project. That's what he meant. And so here is where his world, coming in from NFTs, and my world, coming in from DeFi, start to merge. Because coming in from DeFi, you're all about anti-censorship. and you're about the libertarian ideals, and coming in from he's about capitalism, and he wants to flip and make money, but he is now seeing value in the fact that he's being involved in a crypto project that can't be censored, that is the entire JPEG up on the blockchain and not just a hash representation of it. So that adds value for him and his customers. So here's where those two ideals start to merge. Everybody cares about not being censored. So this leads me to the whole recent issue about Infura. Well, Infura is a node network, and it's a node service, right? And so your MetaMask wallet is the wallet that you use. That's a browser wallet that you connect to Ethereum. So let me okay, so you can see that on my screen. And for those of you on Spotify, I'm just basically just on a web page. And so you have your browser wallet, MetaMask, and you can click on it. And whenever you are connecting to a DApp, which is a decentralized app that uses your MetaMask connection, and that's what gets you access to the Ethereum blockchain and to open up yourself to the world of a lot of these amazing websites, right? So once you learn how to use a MetaMask wallet, you suddenly have the key to an entire Web3 world, and it's pretty incredible. But it's kind of tough for everybody to run their own node. And that's really what decentralization should be and is about. Everybody should, be able to run their own node. But that's not possible. So there are node services that take care of a lot of this stuff. And the Infura is one of those. And it takes care of the API that connects to the blockchain. And so all you have to really know how to do is just to be able to build a website. And then you can use a service like Infura to take care of all that Web3 connection and connection to the blockchain stuff. Because there's a lot of developers out there who don't really have the skills or the time or the money to be able to, do all this type of development that requires access to the blockchain. So here's Infura.io, the world's most powerful blockchain development suite. If I can get this window out of the way, where'd you go? Okay. Our suite of high availability APIs and developer tools provide quick, reliable access to Ethereum and IPFS networks so you can focus on building and scaling next generation software. So the developers don't really want to have to sit there and fiddle with all this configuration with, trying to connect their websites to the blockchain. They want to create their websites. So this service makes it easy. However, there's a cost of centralization here, but let's look a little more at Infura. So your gateway to blockchain development, and backed by Infura's world-leading infrastructure. Hold on, let's see here. Let me make, there is that. That way you can read the whole thing if you're watching. Okay. Backed by Infura's world-leading infrastructure, our products dynamically scale with your application to meet the demands of your users. And the more traffic you're going to have on your website, the more difficult all this stuff becomes. So this is a service that takes care of a lot of that stuff for you. And it just allows you to create an easy connection to the blockchain. Uniswap uses it. Infura helps us to improve the reliability and performance of our service and saves us developer time and resources so we can focus instead on accelerating core product development. And so, there's a lot of other protocols that use it. Maker uses it. Opera uses it. CryptoKitties, Pool Together, the Truffle development suite, IDEX. So yeah, there's a lot of big players that use Infura. Okay, so however, this kind of creates a point of centralization, and that goes completely antithetical to what DeFi and what crypto is supposed to be about, right? So let's go take a look at this Decrypt article. Decrypt is a really great news source. I like it a lot. I use it for a lot of my shows and to be able to explain a lot of concepts. They have a great section, a learning section. I would definitely recommend checking out Decrypt. Same thing with the Defiant as well. It's another great learning resource. But anyway, what is Infura? Connecting the blockchains is messy and complicated. Infura offers to do that work for you, but that brings with it fears over increased centralizations. They say blockchains are hard to use. Wouldn't it be nice to have something that makes navigating the decentralized web a bit easier? That's where Infura comes in. It promises to make building on Ethereum easier and quicker, but in the process, does Infura make Ethereum more centralized? We find out below. And this was written on January 22nd, 2019, folks. So what is Infura? It's a set of tools for anyone to create an application that connects to the Ethereum blockchain. It interacts with the Ethereum blockchain and runs nodes on behalf of its users. It's used by MetaMask, CryptoKitties, Uport, and Truffle. Infura essentially provides the necessary tools for any application to start developing on Ethereum immediately without the need to run the complicated infrastructure themselves. That's Mike Godsees, the product manager at Infura. What problems does it solve? It makes it Infura makes life easier for developers. There's some main bugbears. Bugbears, okay. Bugbears. It helps people to store data on Ethereum. Because storing data on Ethereum is expensive, like the NFTs that I talked to you about. It's complicated to connect on the Ethereum blockchain. It's slow to sync the blockchain, and the Ethereum blockchain uses up a lot of space. So it takes care of a lot of that work, and it helps you handle the load. So by taking the weight off companies, Infura enables certain benefits: fast access to the Ethereum blockchain, scalable by managing the nodes. Developers don't have to worry about infrastructure limits, and then data storage. Instead of storing it all on chain, data can be stored separately with just a hash stored on the blockchain. So in 2017, did you know Infura relayed transactions that moved more than 7 million Ether? Yeah. What's the potential flaw? A lot of Ethereum-based applications rely on Infura to connect to the Ethereum blockchain and make the transactions for their users. But Infura is a centralized service and is therefore vulnerable to attacks that may limit its functionality, and it could be used to censor transactions by governments or third parties. As more and more services use it, it centralizes the Ethereum blockchain around one company, and this isn't very centralized. An average of 6.5 billion JSON RPC requests per day on the Ethereum network are channeled through Infura infrastructure, making the project an essential pillar of the ecosystem, said ConsenSys. And ConsenSys is the big dog in the Ethereum world. And that was in 2019. It's probably a hell of a lot more than that now. Why did it exist then? Infura believes that the ideal situation is for everyone to host their own node. However, this utopia is far off in the future. Until then, they aim to provide the community with a service that makes integration easier. So convenience, the devil is in convenience. That's the problem. Everybody wants something convenient, and that's where the devil creeps into your life. Through convenience, the world will be decentralized when Ethereum is ubiquitous and every person is hosting his or her own node. And that's probably not going to happen, honestly. So the future, perhaps the future lies in everyone having their own node. And Infura will no longer required. Until then, Infura is creating a giant on-ramp for people to use Ethereum. Until Ethereum becomes fast and easier to use, Infura's position as a centralized guide is set to continue. So that's Infura. Now, there's a problem. And this was written in 2019. Here we go. ZY Crypto, decentralized ETH wallet MetaMask and Infura under fire for cutting off users in certain sanctioned regions. Yeah, so now we have all this Ukraine conflict. We have, a lot of world problems happening since 2019. All this stuff is starting to rear its ugly head. With Western nations levying sanctions against Russia for its full-scale invasion of neighboring Ukraine, MetaMask wallet and Infura users in some jurisdictions have found themselves caught in the crosshairs. On Thursday, multiple users in Venezuela, this was written on March 3rd, in Venezuela, reported having lost access to their crypto on these ConsenSys software platforms. Now it seems that just being in Venezuela, you can't use the main connection of MetaMask with Ethereum by Infura, tweeted one affected user, stating that this is a sign that the decentralization that they proclaim is so much a farce. Although there was no direct reference to the Russia-Ukraine linked sanction, it later emerged that these Ethereum networks have been erroneously configured to cut off certain blacklisted jurisdictions due to legal compliance, according to Infura. Following the interruption, Infura, which hosts Ethereum nodes and provides custodial solutions on behalf of various firms, replied saying that they had mistakenly configured the settings. In changing some configurations as a result of the new sanction directives from the United States and other jurisdictions. However, they had since determined what had happened and restored their services. Minutes later, MetaMask, which pivots on Infura's API, because they're dependent on it, to connect to the Ethereum network, also reacted, pointing a finger at misconfiguration, which they say caused a knockoff effect on its users' wallets. MetaMask relies on Infura as the default endpoint, wrote MetaMask, but this setting can be modified by users if desired, or in case of any service interruptions. Right, okay, yeah, just point the finger elsewhere. It wasn't me, not I, said the fly. So, that said, interruptions did not go down well with some crypto proponents, with some criticizing the decentralization claims by the two platforms. If MetaMask/Infura is open and willing to block countries like Venezuela by IP addresses, it's only a matter of time until they are forced by regulators to censor individual IP addresses. So this is probably why the government is pretty on board with Ethereum right now, and a lot of, or a lot of larger corporations, because I think there is a way you can censor on Ethereum, because you can't censor Ethereum as it is, but you can censor Ethereum if the access to Ethereum goes through a service, a centralized service like Infura, that is bowing down to regulations and directives and recommendations by countries and stuff like that. So yeah, if MetaMask and Infura is open and willing to block countries like Venezuela by IP addresses, it's only a matter of time until they are forced by regulators to censor individual people's IP addresses, wrote Larry Cermak, vice president of research at the block. And think about this: a social credit system, they're giving you a UBI, and if you don't follow lockstep with exactly what they want, or if you happen to criticize the government, maybe you're on probation, and then suddenly all this access gets censored to your individual IP, and you don't have access to your money, you don't have access to services and websites. And the more that Web3 comes into play, the more that this becomes relevant. So here's Jacob King, CEO of Oracle Hawk, crypto and NFT data research firm, also condemned the restrictions, stating that 99% of cryptocurrencies and platforms that call themselves decentralized are not. They only say it for marketing purposes. yeah, we're decentralized. Yeah, we have like 3 nodes. With the U.S. and its cronies moving on, and we own all the nodes. With the U.S. and its cronies moving in to clamp virtually all sources of Russia's finances, including levying sanctions on its oligarchs, crypto companies have been thrown into the spotlight, putting their most guarded tenet of decentralization to the test. Reports of those appearing in the list of sanctions using cryptocurrencies to evade sanctions have forced the US and EU nations to consider outlining tougher rules that require forced disclosures, albeit facing a set of pushbacks by crypto firms. So yeah, some company or network may claim that they're decentralized. They may claim they own thousands of nodes. Bitcoin has like 14,000 something nodes, right? That's decentralization. Although a lot of people argue that a lot of the miners hold a lot of the power, and a lot of the miners are centralized and owned by certain companies or by certain countries. So, I mean, that is a point. But, if you have a company like Infura, or, any other random company, like, we're totally decentralized. We're a blockchain. We're decentralized. We're not all owned by the same company. My cousin, he has a node. We're not in the same company. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, like... he has a different address. He's Suite B, I'm Suite A. So, yeah, that's how a lot of that stuff works. You got to be careful and watch out. So censorship is a huge issue, a lot more than people think. It's not like, I'm not doing anything wrong. They can't. We're getting to the point in this where a social credit system will be implemented, and the second that you do something that is frowned upon or not within compliance of something, then you can just immediately be switched off, canceled, and it'll just be quiet censorship. Most people won't know what happened. They'll turn off your phone. Somebody will try to call you, and they'll get a warning saying, "Are you sure you want to call this person with a credit of below limits?" They won't tell you the exact score of somebody, but they'll say this person's credit is below limits. By contacting this person, you may receive a mark on your credit or whatever. And so this type of stuff is enabled whenever stuff is centralized. All right, so here is one more. Let's see, where is it? Here's Larry Cermak. All right, so that's who they were talking about, and they were quoting. He says, if MetaMask Infura is open and willing to block countries like Venezuela by IP addresses, it's only a matter of time until they're forced by regulators to censor individual people's IP address. We need alternatives immediately, hoping that Alchemy and others don't do this. Alchemy is another one. All right, so just a reminder to use secure VPNs by default when then interacting with crypto. So yeah, get a VPN. There's plenty of free ones, and there's some very cheap ones. Just install it on your computer. You can install them on your phone too in your browser. But yeah, so ideally using a local node with MetaMask or other wallets, but not many people will do that, obviously, the VPN. Most importantly, let's put pressure on wallets to not do this shite. They should be neutral. So try to use a wallet. There are plenty of other wallets out there. I think there's Rainbow Wallet, there's the Argent Wallet, there's other Ethereum wallets that you can connect to your dApps and your websites on. You're not just limited to MetaMask, y'all. So there's Tally Wallet now, which I believe is also open source, and it's not. I don't think that they use Infura. So the source for this information, for those asking, is a bunch of people based in Venezuela unable to use MetaMask with Infura today, and also support this page. So here's a little screenshot why Infura cannot serve certain areas. This is by default, MetaMask accesses the blockchain by Infura, which is unavailable in certain jurisdictions due to legal compliance. When you attempt to use MetaMask in one of these regions, you'll receive this error message. MetaMask is unable to connect to the blockchain host. Please review possible reasons here, and it gives a link. So the official explanation by Infura wasn't permanent yet, but the point still stands. At some point it will be. So Infura said, in response to the concerns we've been hearing, we want everyone to know that we corrected the problem that so many of you have pointed out. In changing some configurations as a result of the new sanctions directives from the United States and other jurisdictions, and then it goes to show this thread. I don't really feel like reading that thread, but you kind of get the point. There's some issues going on here. There was another one. Let's see here. I was looking up. All I did was just do a search, and I used pre-search because pre-search doesn't censor their results. That's what the problem with Google too, and with Web 2 platforms. So basically, MetaMask is falling into the trap of Web 2, and the whole reason we created crypto in the first place was to get away from this type of crap. So let's see here. Yeah, let's go look at this article right here. Yeah, so Google gives you the results that it thinks you'll want, and really that's what their alibi, but really they're just censoring results. So here's the Bitcoin MetaMask and Infura clarity connectivity problem solved. I don't know. I don't have time to run through this. I'm at 32 minutes now, so I have to go. Man, this is not the article I was looking for. I will try to find it and post it up on there. But yeah, it was another good opinion piece on that. But a lot of people say, is Web3 a myth? Can we be truly decentralized? And with companies like Infura kowtowing and bowing down to regulations and pressure to censor certain countries, and who knows, maybe certain individuals in the future, this could be a problem, and it goes against everything that crypto is supposed to be about. It goes against the entire reason why I got into crypto, to access availability for everybody, no matter what their political views are, So, all right. That being said, I will, talk to you guys tomorrow. I always, hold on one second. Okay. All right. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. I always enjoy being able to jump on in the morning. I know I've been having a lot of guests lately, and guests are cool, and I love hearing people's perspectives, but sometimes I just love being able to just jump on in the morning and just do my little rants and say, what grinds my gears, like Peter Griffin, this is my time to do that. And I value this time with my audience here to kind of take things that I've learned from all these people I've been interviewing and stuff I've been reading, and be able to kind of just like process it on camera here. So yeah, I'm not following a script. This is not something I've pre-planned. I'm just like processing all this stuff here with you. So, all right, you guys have a good day, and I will talk to you probably tomorrow. If not Wednesday, I'm interviewing just some random person I met on Twitter. I don't even know who they are or anything, but he's just like, hey, I like what you're doing. And I was like, cool, man. You want to come on the show? He's like, yeah, dude. So that's all I know. And that's kind of the fun of it, is I don't know what I'm going to get. who I'm bringing on. So, all right. Where? Come on, let me get. Okay, I will talk to you guys tomorrow.
Thank you for making it to the end of this program. If you actually like this content, give a thumbs up. And if you want to hear more, just hit the subscribe button. I'm available on YouTube, Odyssey, and BitChute, and on all the major podcasting platforms in audio version. Spotify specifically. If you would like to follow and leave a review, that would help a lot. I am also available on Twitter at EurekaJohn1. That's EUREKA John, JOHN, and the number 1. My DMs are always open. Feel free to shoot me a message. Thanks again.